This is the Independence Blue Cross Bowl Session, presented by SEPTA, a weekly recap of your 2024 Phillies, broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's. Tonight's show is brought to you by Team Toyota, BCWSA, The Capitol Grill, Independence Blue Cross, and SEPTA. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Gary Sarge Matthews.
Welcome to Chickies and Pete's flagship at 1526 Packer in South Philadelphia. And we've got a Phillies game coming up today at 4:05. It's the fourth game of their series with the San Francisco Giants. The Phillies have won the first three. They're going for a sweep today at 4. And as you heard in the intro, my co-host is the great Sarge, Gary Matthews, Rookie of the Year with the San Francisco Giants, National League Championship Series MVP. You know, there aren't very many of those, Sarge, and you're one. And that's quite a distinction. And as you and I talked on the phone this morning, ladies and gentlemen, today is the birthday of maybe the greatest player in the history of Major League Baseball, Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid.
Yeah, wow.
93.
93 years old and Rookie of the Year at one time, I believe, right? Willie won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Or was it Willie McCovey?
Well, Willie McCovey definitely did. I don't know if Willie Mays did.
Maybe not, but he used to, he really took care of all of the outfielders, from Gary Maddox to Bernie Williams, Bobby Bonds, and back in the day they had those kangaroo gloves, and he would actually be able to break those in within 1 or 2 days, and he would give the outfielders, George Foster, the kangaroo gloves, and I didn't use it the way that he did, but I still have some of the gloves actually that he had given me, which I passed on to my son that likes to catch it a little bit more.
Wow. Well, listen, these Phillies have been on a roll. They have the best record in all of Major League Baseball. And, it's nice to see the Phils get off to a really good start, Sarge, because the last 2 years, the Phillies have been 7 games under 500 around Memorial Day.
Yeah. They've been playing pretty much team ball. More importantly, getting some really good pitching. And the defense, has been better. And there's still some guys that really need to pick it up a little bit. Castellano, for sure, and I'm sure he would feel that way. But, it's still early. And for them to have done what they did and then to be in first place, don't forget about that, and overtaking the Braves right now. Don't you bet they're thinking, whoa, what is going on here now? And Phillies got hot at the right time, seeing Colorado come in, and how about those White Sox? Holy cow. Oh, man, you don't want to be the team to lose against them.
No.
And the Phillies did very well against them. And actually, those two teams started them on the roll. They've been playing well ever since.
We were 8-2 on the last homestand after splitting with the Pirates, sweeping the Rockies and the White Sox. Then we go 7-3 on the road trip. So at 8-2 homestand, 7-3 road trip, and here we are 3-0 on this homestand. Milt, come on right in here.
Hey, Milt. Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Milt Thompson is our special guest today. He is a Phillies ambassador now, but he was also a terrific player. He was a member of the 1993 National League champions. He was the hitting coach for the 2008 World Series champions. Ladies and gentlemen, Milt Thompson joins us.
How we doing?
How are you, Milt?
Doing good, doing good.
It's great to see you. Just before you came in, we were discussing the fact that today, Milt Thompson, is the 93rd birthday of Willie Mays.
Wow.
The Say Hey Kid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, unbelievable.
Give us a few of your thoughts on Willie Mays.
One of the best five-tool players I've ever seen. You know,
Yeah.
And the thing was, I got a chance to play against his godson,
Oh,
and Barry Bonds, who all he does is talk about him and how great he was and how he learned from him and his dad, Bobby.
yeah.
Wow. Milt, Willie Mays also played in the Negro Leagues. I believe he played for the Birmingham Black Barons. Is that right?
I think that's correct, yes.
But I wanted to. Milt's dad played in the Negro Leagues.
Wow.
Sarge. Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about your dad's history?
Well, they barnstormed. It wasn't the actual Negro Leagues. What happens is
sorry.
the Negro Leagues were in the Dakotas, and they played. And then when their season was over, they traveled all around and played pickup games against teams. My dad played in it's Maryland. They had a Maryland Negro Leagues.
Oh.
And they played against Satchel and all those
Wow.
guys. Yeah, so it was. I was too young to remember that, but it's pretty
Yeah.
incredible the stories I was told.
It really is. Milt, how about this year's Phillies and the start that we're off to?
It's a great start. I mean, we were fortunate enough to play some teams that weren't very good,
Just brought that up.
and we got winning is contagious.
Yeah.
And we got confidence. We got off to a good start, and then next thing you know, hey, we're ready to play now. And it's a good feeling when you get off to a good start. It makes things a lot easier instead of trying to come from behind all the time.
Yeah, I think they feel when they go out there on the field, they're going to win the ball game. And that's a really pretty good feeling. And then they're winning it all kind of different ways, getting some help. But the fact is, 162 games, that's a long, long season. And then to start off well the way that they are, guys that get hurt like Turner, you can wait for them to come back, don't have to rush them.
Yeah.
And they've been getting pretty good pitching.
Yeah, Trey Turner got hurt the other night when he came home on a wild pitch / pass ball, and then in the next game, the Phillies played through the rain. I think almost entirely Saturday evening.
Yeah.
And Alec Boehm's hip tightened up, so they did take him out near the end of that game, but. Here they are.
Well, that's the guy you don't want to come out.
Well, he's an RBI guy, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
He can pick up some ribbies,
Yes,
huh?
yes, he can. Yes, he can. These guys, when you're hot like that, you want to keep playing.
Oh, you do. Yeah.
Briefly, Milt, would you summarize your career? Tell us all the teams you played for, all the teams that you coached for.
I was a second-round pick by the Atlanta Braves back in 1979. Spent 6 years in the minor leagues. It's funny, the steps to get to the big leagues, it's rookie ball, A ball, double A, triple A in the big leagues. I went from rookie ball to double A in a year, blink of an eye. I spent the next 3.5 years in double A. A guy named Dale Murphy was playing center field in front of me.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yes, it will. And a funny thing happened that 6th year. They came up with the minor league free agent rule. There's a 6-year free agent rule in the big leagues, but they came up with a minor league free agent rule. I guess it's for the guy who played behind Ripkins. They'd never get a chance.
Doug DeCinces, as a matter of fact,
Yes.
was the guy.
So I was going to get picked up, and they knew it, and I got called up to the big leagues.
Wow,
At the end
what
of
a
the 84
blessing.
season. Oh, yeah, definitely. I talk about it all the time. You need breaks. And when you get those breaks, you better be ready because there's no excuses. You get an opportunity, you take advantage of it. And I came and I played the next 2 years with the Braves, and then my man Chuck Tanner became the new manager of the Braves, and he made a comment, if I could get some more veterans in here, Thompson could spend years, a couple more years in the minors after I hit 300 for 2 years, the first 2 years with him. So I was fortunate enough. Bobby Cox was the GM there at the time, and I called Bobby. I said, Bobby, are you going to tell me I'm not one of the 24 men on this team right now? And he was like, Milt, he gets to pick his own team. You know, I can have some say, but he gets to pick his own team. I tell you what I'll do for you. Put your name out there, see if there's any interest. And sure enough, the Phillies picked me up. It was me and Steve Bedrosian for Ozzie Virgil and Pete Smith.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Ozzie Virgil.
Yeah. So, and I was here for 3 years, and then they came up with a great idea to, I had knee surgery. They came up with a great idea to put Juan Samuel in center field and sign Tommy Herr as a free agent at second base.
Wow.
So I got traded to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Unbelievable.
So, you know,
How's that St. Louis organization? I hear really good things about them. And guess what? Their fans never boo their players.
Never.
They'll boo the opposition, but they never boo their own.
I mean, that's a baseball town because the football team snuck out, you know. Yeah. So all they had is hockey and baseball, and they absolutely love that baseball team. Get 3 million fans a year, and they love. And I mean, their knowledge of the game is incredible. Like if I would get up there and there was a man on second with nobody out, and I had a ground ball to second, and that guy get to third, they'd clap for me for doing that. You know, even when you do your job, and you get it out.
You don't get that treatment everywhere.
No.
In particular, here at the bank.
Brandon Marsh did that last night. Alec Boehm doubled, I think, in the 7th. And Brandon Marsh came up after him and hit a ground ball to second. Alec got the third. So that's one of those heads-up baseball plays.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Milt, you've coached in the big leagues. Tell us about that experience. And, of course, the one that we're most familiar with is you were the hitting coach for the 2008 World Series champion Phillies.
Yeah, it's a tough job. You know, you're at the ballpark a lot, and you're dealing with 12 different people, you know. But for me, you have to develop their trust. They have to believe in you before they're going to listen to anything you have to say. So you develop a trust with them. And a funny story about 2008, first game Cole Hamels wins in Tampa, and we lose the second game in Tampa, and we're coming back here. And you have an off day when you change cities. And it was raining here. So we were in the cage, and I'm like, what can I say to these guys and kind of make them think about something? So I said, all right, guys, come in the cage. I want to talk to you. I said, which one of you guys wants to be the MVP of the World Series? And they looked at me, and I went, if you just do your job, everybody do their job, we'd be world champions. You know, simplify that. You know, everybody tries to do too much. When the lights come on like that, just do your job.
Makes it easier. Makes it easier to be able to win that way. And one individual, it puts almost a little bit too much pressure on one individual. I think it did that to Mike Smith, although we had a lot of other guys there on the team. But you never see it where he goes into a series and, say, get only one hit. That's just not the way he is. But when he's hitting, everything else is clicking. I mean, when J-Roll was on base, and I've said this before, you want to be a good hitting coach? Have good hitters. And he had some good hitters that was on that ball club there. They did different things. And that's what Milt was talking about, the psychology of the game, where you got to know all kind of different ways to be able to get guys going. You know, Utley might be different than Victorino. I mean, you can go to Victorino. I mean, he almost never took anything serious, but some of the other guys did. But it's great to have those kind of athletes on your team from Pat Burrell, and I know you had a chance to speak with him. He's now the hitting coach. And being a hitting coach is kind of humbling a little bit coming back down, but it can be fun when you have guys that actually can hit themselves.
I'll tell you a quick story. I went to see Pat first day in. I said, hey, how's it going being a hitting coach? And he goes, Man, in spring training, Barry came in and he took guys' bats and started hitting.
Yeah, Barry's 16 years old. He said he embarrassed the guys there. They've never been the same. Can you imagine that?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the hitting came so easy for this kid until, he continues. He looks at it and says, man, let me in that cage. And starts pounding the ball. Well, what does that do to the attitude of the team?
Hey, we have to take our first commercial time out, but don't go away. We'll be right back with Gary Matthews, Milt Thompson, and me, Dan Baker, after these messages.
Hey, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dive into our delectable seasonal seafood specials, including our Chickies and Pete's Sticky Lobster Tacos, succulent Brazilian tail meat in a spicy sauce, or try our Chicky and Pete's Shrimp Po' Boy, our signature fried shrimp, lettuce, roasted tomato, and a cherry pepper sauce, served on a fresh baguette. Plus, don't forget our Chicky and Pete's buy one, get one sweet and tasty snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday, only at Chickies and Pete's.
Whether you're headed to brunch or baseball practice, Team Toyota is ready. With new Toyotas on the lot ready to drive home today, including the all-new Tacoma and rows of RAV4s. And with our huge selection of dependable certified used Toyotas, our pre-owned departments are ready to make a deal that works for you. Plus, our award-winning service centers will have you back on the road in no time. Visit one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, or Glen Mills, or online at teamtoyota.net.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
I SEPTA Philly.
I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly.
I take SEPTA so I never miss tip-off.
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
I don't have a car. Do you know how expensive parking is?
I take the Broad Street line to all the games.
I ride the bus.
I ride the train and the subway.
I set my lineup when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, SEPTA is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Relax and enjoy a cocktail from our seasonal cocktail menu. Try one of our delicious, perfectly blended options like strawberry lemonade. How about a raspberry sangria, blend of Pinot Grigio, raspberry liqueur, and bubbly lemon lime soda? Or maybe a Hendrick's Gimlet or a Patron Tropical Mojito is more your style. Enjoy one of these or many others from our Chicky and Pete's sensational seasonal cocktail selection. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Gary Sarge Matthews.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 2024 Bull Session on WBCB 1490 AM and 107.3 FM. Now, we're also video streamed live on WBCBsports.com or our YouTube page, WBCB Sports. And by the way, our full title is the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. And don't forget, the Phillies host the Giants today at 4:05.
Yep.
Milt, one of my good friends has brought you a present today. Dave Hitchner over here, who was one of the founders of the All Sports Museum of Southern New Jersey and who helped put together maybe the finest amateur baseball tournament in the tri-state area, the Bridgeton Invitational. Hey, Dave Hitchner, can you hear me over there? You have that book?
Yeah, he handed it to me. He gave
okay.
it to me. Yeah, it's
All
great.
right.
Yeah. Oh, no,
yeah.
it ain't starring me.
Dave, who, like me, is a Glassboro State College graduate and a fine pitcher back in the day at Bridgeton High School. And, boy, that's really neat, that all sports museum down there, isn't it?
It really is.
In the Bridgeton.
2 years ago, they put me in, so it's pretty
Wow,
good.
yeah.
Charlie the year before, me the year after. And it's funny, that tournament, Dickie Knowles, once he stopped playing, he played in that tournament for years.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Greg Luzinski told me way back you'd be surprised, some former major leaguers have played in there. And well, anyway, Dave Hitchner, it's always great to see you. Thank you for thinking of Milt. Dave is sitting over there with my wife, Kathy. There's so many friends here today, and we really appreciate you all being here. Many of these wonderful people come to every one of our shows, Chris Irmer, and no matter which Chickies and Pete's, no matter what restaurant location, and we're very grateful for your support. So, we're talking about, today celebrating Willie Mays' birthday, Sarge, and I wanted to ask you, Milt brought up about a couple of obstacles that he ran into as a young man, coming into the big leagues. Did you have any situations like that? And
I grew. I drafted by the Giants, right? I grew up in San Fernando Valley. It was a melting pot. I didn't know about any kind of prejudice until Double-A. I played in Amarillo, Texas, and we would go to Little Rock, Arkansas. That was a little different from California.
Dick Allen had to play there.
That's the only time I experienced, but literally you couldn't go out after the game, okay? And that was, they just said it wouldn't be in your best interest. So, I mean, other than that, Phoenix, Arizona, AAA was a piece of cake, and then San Francisco. So,
Did you have a chance to see the beautiful new display, either of you, at the ballpark on the Hall of Fame level?
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Sarge.
Oh, I thought it was great. And Rob Halladay, I think, did a terrific job in organizing with his team to put that together. But they have every black player that has actually played for the Philadelphia Phillies. And I told Rob that I think with the pitcher needs to be a little caption of the years they played or whatever little accomplishments, whether any at all. So I think he's kind of looking at it, because when the kids go, they're just looking at the pitcher and go like, yeah, well, what was his contribution to the Phillies? So that's a part of the history. And, none of us, and particularly me, played here long enough to have a long resume, but there's some little tidbits that they could put underneath your picture there.
Like MVP.
Yeah,
it was a wonderful experience. Like Rob did a tremendous job, and we did it on Jackie Robinson Day, which was special. And when me and Sarge opened the curtains for that place, there wasn't a dry eye in that place.
Very
emotional.
emotional.
It was very emotional.
I was there.
For those families. It was incredible.
It was beautiful. And how about what some of the family members' speeches? Wasn't it nice?
Poem? Oh, the poem.
Yeah.
By Kennedy's. Oh.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. John Kennedy, of course, 1956, I believe. And unfortunately, he didn't get much of a chance here. Things that I think people forget about Dick Allen is what he faced off the field.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think in some ways he's like our city's Jackie Robinson. And Dick was a very proud man. And and spoke up. And you fellas would know better than me, but it seemed like in those times, if you were a black man and you spoke the truth and you spoke up and talked about the inequities, you were silenced.
Well, that's one of the reasons that Jackie Robinson wasn't the best player.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't the best player at the time. He was the guy Branch Rickey handpicked that could get through what he was going to go through.
Yes.
And that's a very important thing about people should know about that.
Yeah.
Being educated as well, going to UCLA. And
time in the military.
Branch also was smart because, again, he didn't take the best players in the Negro Leagues, Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige, and reason being is that they were going to take jobs. So they took the younger stars, which meant once you've done that, now the bloodline for the Negro League to stay, it was no more. That's why in Japan, you got to be able to play there 6-7 years, and then they can come over to the States there, and therefore their league can maintain a certain amount of level of excellence.
Well, I'm a couple of weeks ago, Milt, Sarge and I had Rob Holliday and Richard Allen Jr. right here as our guests on the show to talk about Dick Allen's great career and that wonderful display. And on the Hall of Fame level that we were just talking about, and I give John Middleton a lot of credit for. Rob Holliday told me that Mr. Middleton strongly encouraged him to do this.
Yes.
He said this is a part of our history we need to tell.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good man. He's a pretty good owner. He's always out amongst the fans, and I mean, he's just he gets it. He really gets it.
Yeah, it's unusual there. He reminds me on a little different level of a Ted Turner, that he's just really such a fan. Ted actually came down and managed himself. He said, I could do the job this manager is doing. He couldn't even put on his socks, but he felt he was part of the guys. And John feels that way really with his team. He's pretty close to a lot of the guys, and I think, like Milt said, these guys trust him. And if they say, hey, we need this or that, they go out and they try and get that kind of player. And I think really in trusting that in the certain players, it makes your organization a little bit better. I mean, I wish they had have asked me back in the day, hey, man, what do you think about, getting Goose Gossage or Nolan Ryan or J.R. Richard? I hated facing those guys. But I'd love to have had them, on my team if I had any say so. But John does a great job with that, and he treats people like human beings, and you can tell he loves the Phillies.
Well, I'm glad to see us with that kind of recognition.
And it's unbelievable. I'll add another point to John. Alumni Weekend, he invites everybody over to his house.
Oh, it's incredible.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I mean, he gets it. He really gets it.
Wow.
Oh, man, I tell you, it's just...
And look at the commitment he's made financially with the free agents that have been signed and so forth. Now we talked about the Phillies having the best record in baseball right now. What a contrast with the last 2 years, and hopefully it'll propel us right into the postseason eventually.
We'll have a new one. For the last year I said unfinished business.
Yes.
Third time's a charm.
Well, they know they can play.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, and they know that really they can hit. And like Milt mentioned earlier about, sometimes just don't get greedy, meaning the bases are loaded. Now you want them all and come out of your swing when it only takes, a base hit to be able to win the game. Stay within yourself, and because you have such a good team, you're going to win because of all the great athletes that you have, like Milt's team there. I had Charlie being there. And those guys, they really played for them. But they had a lot of pride. I don't know how to phrase this, but those guys there, they weren't going to be hitting no $180 or 200. I can tell you that. Utley and some of those guys, they'll have you at the cage at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Milt and Gary, you guys have helped a lot of young hitters over the years. When we come back after our next commercial break, which Chris Ermer tells me is right now, I want to ask you about some of those. One of those prize pupils being Jason Worth, who just had a horse run in the Kentucky Derby door knock on Saturday. We'll be right back with the second half of the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session in just a moment.
Hey, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dive into our delectable seasonal seafood specials, including our Chickies and Pete's Sticky Lobster Tacos, succulent Brazilian tail meat in a spicy sauce, or try our Chicky and Pete's Shrimp Po' Boy, our signature fried shrimp, lettuce, roasted tomato, and a cherry pepper sauce, served on a fresh baguette. Plus, don't forget our Chicky and Pete's buy one, get one sweet and tasty snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday, only at Chickies and Pete's. Hey, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dive into our delectable seasonal seafood special.
Whether you're headed to brunch or baseball practice, Team Toyota is ready. With new Toyotas on the lot ready to drive home today, including the all-new Tacoma and rows of RAV4s. And with our huge selection of dependable certified used Toyotas, our pre-owned departments are ready to make a deal that works for you. Plus, our award-winning service centers will have you back on the road in no time. Visit one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, or Glen Mills, or online at teamtoyota.net.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Gary Sarge Matthews.
And Sarge and I are joined today by former Phillies star outfielder Milt Thompson, a member of the 1993 National League champions, and you'll remember him also for the significant role he played as hitting coach for the 2008 World Series champions. One of both of your disciples is Jason Worth. We talked about going into that last commercial break. I have a picture of you, me, and Jason when he was with Washington in the Phillies dugout one year. And he was one of the people that you mentored as hitting coach on those. So I wanted to ask each of you about Jason Worth. Tell me about Jason Worth, Sarge.
Well, personally for me, I mean, I think Milt had a chance to work with him more, but and then also there with Charlie. And I would always go and ask Milt or Charlie, hey man, you mind if I say anything there to any of the guys, and with them not being jealous, they just want to see the guy to be able to hit. So I just used to challenge Jason, and I'd say, "Are you afraid of the ball?" And he would say, "No." I said, "Well, why the hell you keep swinging at that ball in the dirt all the time?" So it gets it into, his head. Okay, now let me start to get it up. Milt made him a lot of money the way he ended up going and finishing up his career and going to Washington. But those guys were willing to listen. And once he started to use right center, they were no getting him out. And with that team, they didn't have time to worry about Jason Worth. You had all those other guys on the team.
Jimmy Rollins,
exactly. But he kind of stayed within himself, and he got to know himself as a hitter. And I thought he became really a pretty doggone good hitter.
Milt Thompson?
He really did. We worked a lot. Sarge talked about, being afraid of the ball. He was so far off the plate. And I'm like, man, you to be a good hitter, to be able to use the other field and stuff, man, you're not going to be able to touch those pitches on the outer half.
And he had been hitting the wrist quite a bit,
yes,
though,
he
too,
did.
right?
Yeah, when he was a catcher. Yeah, young in his career. Because he started off, I think it was Baltimore?
Baltimore, I know he
got
got
to
it
Toronto.
The Dodgers.
With the Dodgers,
yeah, that's when he became an outfielder when he was with the Dodgers. But he was catching when he was with Baltimore and Toronto, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got him to understand plate discipline. What pitch do you know you can handle, and you're going to do some damage with. And first pitch has got to be, if I'm swinging at the first pitch, it's got to be a pitch I love.
Yeah.
I can't go up there and just, I'm saying, I'll take myself, for instance. I was a good middle away guy. I reacted inside, but I was a good middle away guy. So if he's going to pound me in, well, I'm going to try to swing at that ball for him.
Yeah.
It's not the pitch I want to hit. So recognizing what your strength is and hunting it. I tell guys all the time, me and Sarge laugh about it all the time. You got a 2-0, 3-0 count, and you fouling balls the other way, something's wrong.
Oh, God.
Something is wrong when you have a have to, Charlie called it a have to count. They have to come to you. You have to be ready to hit. You cannot, if I'm a left-handed hitter, I can't be fouling the ball over a third base dugout.
Yeah.
No way.
Billy Williams used to always say, don't be late, okay? Meaning, make sure you get that bat head out. And if you're pulling it, you're pulling it. But it shouldn't be getting jammed in any of the hitting counts on that particular level.
Sweet swinging Billy Williams.
Oh, boy. They call him the Whistler for a reason.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Hey, who are some of the other guys that you have mentored over the years, Mills, that you take particular pride in?
Well, I've known Jimmy since he was 18. So, I've had a lot of time to work with Jimmy. I remember, I think it's after 2007, he stayed up here. And we worked out at least 3 times a week. And I would get a pitching machine and throw him that high fastball at the top of the zone because he loved to chase that pitch. And I said, I just want you to stand here and keep watching this pitch because that's not a pitch you're going to do a whole lot of damage with, And I want you to understand that hunt your zone and leave that pitch alone. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, it's hard for the smaller guys to get kind of on top. One of the guys that really does it and does it quite a bit is Altuve. How he gets on top of that ball. He stole his 300th base the other day as well. Boy, and a stadium that's just built for him because he can hit a high fly ball and it's a home run. Yeah. But he swings at a lot of high fastballs.
Yes, he does.
For sure.
Yes, he does.
And I think he's only about 5'6".
If he's that. If he's that.
And you took some of those young Cubs under your wing, too, when you went out there.
Well, more my guys that really I had were in Toronto. Delgado and Sean Green and Fletcher and those guys. I mean, Canseco. Canseco, and I used to love it because he would let Lopez, because he was from Cuba too, soft toss to him. And I said great because when Canseco used to hit the screen, the screen would always tilt backwards. He would hit the screen so hard.
Yes.
And you always think it's going to come through that net. I'm telling you, and he hit the ball so hard. But he'd walk in and say, write it down, 40-40. He'd hit 40 home runs, still 40 bases. He was really a good athlete. Obviously, some of the things that he's done is well documented. But as far as a player that I've had around me, man, what a professional. I used to accuse him all the time of wearing those T-shirts that were too small because his guns were always popping out of those T-shirts. But what an athlete.
Let me ask you about the current Phillies, 24-11, best record in baseball. What do you think, Sarge and Milt, enabled the Phillies to get off to a good start this year, which we weren't able to do in 2022 and 2023?
Well, I just think it's a different year. You know, I think those guys understand. If you look at Schwarber, he's not trying to pull everything like he did before. He's you know, and he's lost some weight. He's a little slimmer.
He looks great.
Yes, he does. And it's just little things like that. You know, Bohm looks great. You know, he's got a great idea what he's trying to do at the plate. You know, the young guys are figuring it out, and the older guys are, you know, hanging in there tough, doing their thing. But it all boils down to pitching.
Yeah.
when you got starters like this, they're going to keep you in the game every single night.
Well, they're doing it, aren't they?
That's the whole key.
Yeah.
And they score early.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They figured it out that these guys are going to score some runs, and they're going out trying to just keep them right there. I mean, that's how you win. You know, good starting pitching.
What recommendations would either of you have for Nick Castellanos? Is he just a streaky guy and he's going through a cold streak and the hot streak's coming, or does he have to make an adjustment?
Doesn't he remind you of Jason a little bit?
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of Jason. But the one thing I would try to explain to him if I ever get a chance to talk to him is that one thing I learned a long time ago is the slider has to start on me to be a strike.
No doubt about it. And not only that, and up.
But I see that ball coming as a strike, and it's almost in the other batter's box, and he's attacking it. You know?
Yeah.
I don't think that personally for me he's in the hitting position to be able to hit the slider. He'll hit that fastball that is kind of up or middle in, but if he ends up hitting that slider, he'll end up getting even more pitches or better pitches. And really, he's got to be able to determine whether it's hard or soft and then lay off of it if it's low, because it's a ball. And all you're doing is getting a strike, or if it's two strikes, you're striking out. It takes a while to be able to learn how to hit that slider, because you'll see that dot, and like Milt says, oh, okay, I got to make sure that ball starts at me and then is breaking away and staying on the ball there, where you're hitting even more balls up the middle. You know, if he gets where he's hitting more balls up the middle, he'll understand that ball in the dirt, he can't hit up the middle. He's got to let that go. But their team has been so good, they can carry guys that aren't hitting, for sure.
That's true.
How about Johan Rojas?
I haven't been around him really enough to know. He has a body, kind of reminds me a little bit of Cedeno, not with as much maybe talent. You remember seeing Cedeno has good really instincts. You know, I don't like commenting or saying do this or that unless personally, you know, I've seen him enough, seeing how he's reacting, fastballs in. He looks like his base for me is a little bit too robotic, but again, I haven't been around him enough. But I know early on he was driving balls out to right center, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of that right now.
And he's chasing too many balls up in the zone. That'll get you every single time, especially like Sarge says, when you're a little guy, you can't hunt up here. It just don't, unless Altuve's a freak.
Well, so, I mean, and it's amazing how many he gets to, or why they keep throwing him fastballs and they know he's going to swing at it. But when he catches it, it's out of the ballpark, and he's done that pretty much all his career.
Man, you guys are so entertaining, and your discussion on hitting is has to be enjoyable to our live audience here at Chickies and Pete's, and those watching at home or listening at home. We have one more commercial break, and then we're going to come back and finish out this week's edition of the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. By the way, SEPTA is giving out these T-shirts, one of our sponsors, and what does it say right on the front, Sarge?
You can't beat the system. Let me hold it up for him so
there
they
you
can say
go.
it like
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, Milt. You can tell he's an ambassador, can't you? We'll be right back with Milt Thompson, Gary Matthews, and me, Dan Baker, after this.
Hey, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Dive into our delectable seasonal seafood specials, including our Chickies and Pete's Sticky Lobster Tacos, succulent Brazilian tail meat in a spicy sauce, or try our Chickie and Pete's Shrimp Po' Boy, our signature fried shrimp, lettuce, roasted tomato, and a cherry pepper sauce, served on a fresh baguette. Plus, don't forget our Chickie and Pete's buy one, get one sweet and tasty snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday, only at Chickies and Pete's.
Whether you're headed to brunch or baseball practice, Team Toyota is ready. With new Toyotas on the lot ready to drive home today, including the all-new Tacoma and rows of RAV4s. And with our huge selection of dependable certified used Toyotas, our pre-owned departments are ready to make a deal that works for you. Plus, our award-winning service centers will have you back on the road in no time. Visit one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, or Glen Mills, or online at teamtoyota.net.
At Independence Blue Cross, we take care of the people who take care of you. Everyday heroes like firefighters, teachers, farmers, and healthcare workers. Doctors and hospitals across the region have IBX, and they know what it means to have reliable access to care. So whether you're saving lives or just trying to live a healthier life, count on IBX, the region's #1 health insurer for 85 years. Learn more at IBX.com.
I SEPTA Philly.
I SEPTA Philly. I SEPTA Philly.
I take SEPTA so I never miss tip-off.
I do not have time to deal with traffic.
I don't have a car.
Do you know how expensive parking is?
I take the Broad Street line to all the games.
I ride the bus. I ride the train and the subway.
I set my lineup when I ride.
I check Twitter, text my buddies.
I watch sports highlights or lowlights.
For real Philly fans, SEPTA is the hometown way to go. Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Relax and enjoy a cocktail from our seasonal cocktail menu. Try one of our delicious, perfectly blended options like strawberry lemonade. How about a raspberry sangria, blend of Pinot Grigio, raspberry liqueur, and bubbly lemon lime soda? Or maybe a Hendrick's Gimlet or a Patron Tropical Mojito is more your style. Enjoy one of these or many others from our Chickie and Pete's sensational seasonal cocktail selection. Only at Chickies and Pete's.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session presented by SEPTA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Gary Sarge Matthews.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today at Chickies and Pete's. Boy, I've done so many shows and promotions out of this wonderful establishment, and really, we've done it at a lot of Chickies and Pete's, and we want to thank Pete Cherokee and all the good folks at Chickies and Pete's, and WBCB Radio, who has been kind enough to air this program for the last 18 years on WBCB 1490 AM and 107.3 FM. And then you can also watch this. If you'd like to see these good-looking guys on camera, tune in, WBCBsports.com, or our YouTube page, WBCB Sports. And remember, the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session is brought to you by SEPTA, who also provided these shirts to... Did you guys get some, I hope? That's not a bad little thing. You can't beat the system. Talking about hitting, and this year's Phillies. Kevin Long, by the way, I think is a hitting coach who's impressed me a lot. We've had some. Greg Gross. We've had, I think, some really good hitting coaches. I always felt bad for the hitting coach or the pitching coach because it seems like if something goes wrong for the team, it's one of those two guys that usually pays for it.
Yeah, that hitting coach usually goes first.
Yes.
That pitching coach is able to stay around a little bit longer. But you know what you've signed up for, when you're going kind of into a situation. When I went to Milwaukee, I took over for Rod Carew, and I told the general manager, I said, hey, I learned from Rod Carew. I said, it ain't going to get any better than with Rod. And he said, well, maybe will it come in a different message from a different way? I've never seen guys strike out that much in my life with the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, we literally had to sit guys on the bench so they wouldn't break records. But I guess today, now it's the norm, kind of like today. But I came up with one little gimmick that I said, forget about the hits, 1 for 3. I said, listen, do me a favor, guys. Just hit the ball hard 3 times a game. Just do that. And if you have to come up and ask me, was that ball hit hard? Already the answer is no. Invariably, they'd come over. Was that hit hard? When the ball's almost in the other dugout and so on. But again, Richie Sexton and Jose Hernandez. I just shook my head, and then the general manager would say, "Man, I never see Sarge." I guess not. I'm sleeping in the damn batting cage for the whole season there and getting there earlier. But, man, it was just awful. It's really what it was.
Well, the way I looked at it was, even when I played as a team, our 93 team, we're like, you want to get double digits in hits every game.
Yeah.
And when I became a coach, I brought it over. Hey, we got to get double digits in every game. We're going to have a chance to win. If we can get 10-plus hits, we got a chance to win. But now you get 10-plus strikeouts, and don't even worry about it. So, it's changed.
Yeah, it doesn't bother them,
No.
To strike out or even having no hitter thrown against them. It doesn't bother them.
Another thing that's encouraging about not only the in-season success and post-season success of the last couple of years, but it seems like we've made some better draft picks, especially since Dave Dombrowski has been here. Now, maybe that's not the reason, but it seems to me to coincide with his return, with his coming here. It reminds me a little bit when Pat Gillick came here, and you saw these guys not only do big things, but do things around the perimeter, like a Jason Worth. It was Pat Gillick that brought Jason Worth in.
Well, if you're taking the blame, for sure you deserve the credit when things go well. And Dombrowski really, he deserves that. But, he gets guys that can play. He's got input from a lot of other people. He makes, obviously, the final decision. Well, I take that back. That comes from Middleton. But you get, and they've gotten athletes, which is really refreshing. And Phillies have always had a team really that could hit. A few years we had, I don't know what the heck going on, but we seem to have gotten it together where you have a chance. And if certain guys get hot, they can almost carry the club themselves, which they've shown. And that's the kind of club, too, that, Milt had with their club, with J-Ro. I've honestly never seen anything like it where a guy talks the way he does and then backs it up. And that year he had with those 30 triples when he won the MVP, I'm telling you what, and well-deserved too, by the way. And he walks around like he has won that MVP.
Yes, we're the team to beat.
And good for him as well. He just exudes that confidence. And he's been short all his life, and I'm sure people have told him that. It don't bother him because he plays like a giant.
And I like the way it rubs off on other people.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sets an example.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, he is not afraid.
No. I'll tell you a quick story about that. There was about a week left, and they needed that triple. And I went down there one day. I'm like, you know what? You're going to wait till your last at bat to get that triple. And that's exactly what he did.
Oh, my gosh. Holy
He's
cow.
amazing.
What a year, though, huh?
Oh. And then Howard the year before that. I mean, it's just like a couple years. Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, they were pounded. Literally, Ryan Howard. I mean, the pitchers were afraid to throw to him. You know, I think if he could have stayed more into his own, sometimes coming out of it or for whatever reason.
Stay in the left field.
You know, because early on he hit for a pretty high average, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
So those strikeouts would make it where you don't hit for that average.
Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. They put the shift on him and start messing with his brain because they put the shift on him. He thinks they're going to pound him inside. See, people don't understand. That shift can mess with you mentally.
Yeah.
You know, somebody like Sarge and myself, if you shift, I'm just going to hit the ball where you're not.
Try to.
Yeah, that's our mindset. But
well, Sarge and Milt, you guys have been so informative and just terrific interaction. And I want to thank you both. And also, I want to put in a plug for next week's Bull Session. We'll be up at Chickies and Pete's in Bordentown. You know, that's up near where Route 130 and 206 cross in Bordentown, New Jersey. Mickey Morandini will be my co-host next week.
Good.
And Terry Harmon
Harms.
is former Phillies middle infielder on some of those great teams in the 1970s will be our guest. Our thanks to producer Chris Ermer. And don't forget Phillies baseball today on WBCB Radio.
Did you do the Philly of the week? Are we going to pass on that?
Do it real quick.
Huh? Well, I got it as Toppers. He's the player of the week, the way that he has studied the club. That is your manager, Rob, there. And I can't believe that you didn't ask me that.
Jeez.
I
apologize.
I gave it to the manager for steadying the ship.
That's a
and
good
having
choice.
all of those, I told you wouldn't have guessed it in 100
you're
years.
Right.
But anyway, thanks for letting me squeeze that in.
Oh, thank you, Milt Thompson and Gary Matthews. I'm Dan Baker. See you next week, everybody.
Right on cue, Sarge.
Okay.